All right, y'all. I'm going to jump right in. Let's go into episode 9. So, the very last thing that I spoke about was sharing with him how he was going to die, what age he was going to die, if he wanted to know how he was going to pass away. He told me no. I thought he would want to know, or at least thought that he wouldn't be concerned about knowing. And he said no. He was shook. I left it at that. Um, so after that, mind you, because I'm trying to recollect my thoughts. After that, mind you, we continue to see each other. When I say see each other, mind you, this was during the pandemic. So not much was happening outside of the house unless it had to do with essential workers. So I stayed inside primarily because around that time they were mad strict outside of essential workers. So, we would chill, we would talk, he would come over, we would fuck. It is what it is. And there was one time when I had at this point, I was buying certain crystals, okay? This is when I started getting into my collection of crystals. Because this is when my visions were becoming a lot more intense. My own personal visions as warnings as it pertains to my family, and as well centered around him. Now, prior to meeting him, I would consider myself an intuitive and an empath. And yeah, I would have dreams, and I would have some visions, but not many. It wasn't until I was sleeping with him when it was activated. Okay. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? But whatever. And at this time, I just started buying more crystals. I had one friend who introduced me to my first couple of crystals. He purchased my first crystal for me. And then I just started buying more crystals. At this time, I also think that I started purchasing some tarot cards, just mainly to get comfortable with them and see if I wanted to learn how to read. But mainly, I was curious and I wanted to get familiar with tarot cards. I was had a whole bunch of crystals. So I had a whole bowl of crystals at this point that I was buying. And I remember one day when he came into my apartment, he said, well, what's going on? You about to do a seance on me? And I'm thinking to myself, hold up. First you done said about the blood and the spaghetti. Now you talking about seance. Who does that? Who comes up with this stuff? What type of movies you watch and make you come up with this stuff? That's when he shared with me about on his mother's side, that how he's knowledgeable about some of the stuff because they do it on his mother's side. He also shared with me how he used to date a dancer. And he told me that the person that he used to date was a dancer, and she was Egyptian, and she was very good at astral projection, as well as dream walking. He said that she was really good at that, and that she read a lot of books on it, and that was the extent of that conversation. So I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't really give two shits about it. I didn't know what the fuck astral projection was at the time. I didn't know what the hell dream walking, I didn't care. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. So I guess he saw it as us being able to communicate on a similar thing and connecting. So as we're continue on doing what we do, at this point, you guys already know. There were some things that I noticed about him, on some fuckery shit. There were times where I already told you how whenever he would come over, it always seemed like it was either on the new moon, full moon, or it was 3 days before. Sometimes it would be a day of, sometimes it would be 3 days after. And then every single time when we were intimate, either I was extremely fatigued afterwards, or I was bleeding. Well, in addition to that, this dude, I told you I'm gonna say it. In addition to that, this dude, what I found was weird is whenever he would come over, sometimes he would spend the night, and other times he would go home. But when he would go home, when I say go home, it would usually be around what, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, go home around then. This dude would literally be on some shit like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab something from the liquor store right quick. It would be gone. Like he didn't take no shower. He would put his clothes on. He would then tell me, oh, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna get something from the liquor store. And he would legit be gone. Like, I would probably be in bed, I probably resting, whatever, 20, 25 minutes into it. I would probably even doze off. I would wake up. I wouldn't see anything of his right there. And then I'd be like, hold up, it don't take that long to go to the liquor store. Because we would have, I had 24-hour liquor stores by where I lived at. I would go downstairs. I look to the left, I would look to the right, and I see no cars in sight. This dude was gone. No, I'm leaving. No, I'm going to see you later. No, I'm going to hit you up later. It was just like, poof, be gone. He did that, I think, up to maybe 2 to 3 times before I said something to him about it. Okay? And when I said something to him about it, he didn't do it again. But I did think that that was suspicious behavior. But you know what? Your girl was still fucking him. There was another time, a point where he had came over my house and he had broken like his wrist or his arm. And he comes and he sits next to me on the couch and we're just chilling, having a couple drinks or whatever. I'm not a big drinker. I'm a social drinker. I don't do weed. I probably tried it maybe once or twice. But because I'm so sensitive, I can get high off of somebody else getting high, which is why I don't do it. And I definitely don't do drugs. But this dude was a weed head, and he also drank. He drank a lot. But for me, probably because my last ex was a Sagittarius, and they know how to put some drinks down, I was just like, I just chalked it up off as it being a Sagittarius thing, to be honest with you. But where I'm going with this is, he would drink a lot, and we're drinking. We played this card game. I remember part of a drinking game that he wanted to play, but his wrist was broken. So this was the night where, do you think that stopped him wanting to? No, it didn't, because he still wanted. Okay. This is going to be straight no chaser. He still wanted to fuck, okay? And this is when he asked me, he said, can I take a video of you? At this point, I think we were messing with each other. It could be like 6 months in, 7 months in. Before he asked me for a video, though, he had asked me again, well, what you think about, coming with me and my girlfriend at the time. Now remember, y'all, he said he was in an open relationship. He said they were polyamorous. He said he was doing him while she was doing her. And then when they come together, they do each other, okay? And I was on some shit like, well, you're not married, you're not engaged, and if this is consensual and everybody's in agreement and knows what's going on, then I don't have an issue with it. This is where my self-esteem was at the time, y'all. Okay. So I was like, cool. You know what I'm saying? But not cool to the situation. Not cool to the threesome he was trying to invite me with his girlfriend at the time. So I told him no again. And I said, please don't ask me that again. And he kept his promise. I think at the most he asked me twice. But he had also asked me that night if he can do a video of me. And I was doing this whole adventurous shit. And I said, fine, sure, let's do it. And I said, from the neck down, you know what I'm saying? From the neck down. At this time, we were messing with each other for like maybe 6 months, 7 months at this time. And it was a good time. We not only did one video, I think we did 2 videos. It was a good time. It was my first time ever doing a video. It was my last time ever doing a video. And I'll get to that at some point. So, you know, that was cool. So I think after that, we chilled. But I had asked him, yo, what happened to your wrist? And he was like tight all around here. And he had said something about, I got into a fight. And I said, oh, well, how'd that happen? He said, I got into a fight with, I think he said his friend or his best friend at the time. And he was just like, it was him, his best friend, and there was actually somebody else that had gotten to the fight. I think it was another friend. So somewhere he found himself fighting his friend, and then somebody else jumped in, and now he's fighting both of them. But one of the things he had mentioned, like, yeah, you may see this, a broken wrist or a fractured wrist, but I handle mine. Because apparently he said he was fighting 2 motherfuckers up in this bitch, okay, against him. He did share with me that he was used to do MMA fighting or karate. I think it was MMA fighting. So even though he was a smaller dude, because he was like around 5'9", muscular, maybe 5'10" on a good day, he was just like, a lot of people, first impression, underestimate him because he light-skinned. He a pretty boy. And his stature, until he shows him he can take him down due to his MMA fighting, abilities. This is what he's telling me. Okay? But like I said beforehand, I'm like, yo, this dude must be an addict, because this nigga went ahead and he has a wrist fracture and a fracture or broken, and he's still trying to fuck. Like, that didn't stop him. That ain't stop him. One arm and all, he was still going at it with the camera in hand. Okay, this is what he was doing, and I'm not gonna front. It was a good time at the time. In the moment, it was definitely a good time and a fun time, and I went through it, whatever. So that's that. Shortly after the 7-month, 8-month mark, strange shit started to happen. This is when I remember going to a store across the street, Family Dollar, to go, get something real quick. And I noticed I felt uneasy. Now, he wasn't at my spot at the time, but I was just running, real quick, get some errands. We're still heavily in the pandemic. At this time, everybody is up in their house except essential workers. Okay? This was even the time where my personal doctor's office wasn't taking people in. It had to be over the phone. This is around that time. So I hurried up and I go to Family Dollar. One thing that I notice is, off the rip, I see this young looking woman, dark skin, and I'm heading towards the back, the farthest aisle. to grab something. I see this woman on the phone. She's talking. She's looking at me. But I do the same thing because, when I'm sitting there and I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, I could be scattered as far as like what I'm trying to focus on because I'm just talking to the person, depending on the conversation. So I find that's what I checked it off as. I see she follows, like walking on the phone, and she like looking left and right as she's walking behind me. And then she pivots, so I figured, oh, maybe she didn't find what she needed. The next thing you know, I look over to my right. I see a guy turn the corner. Now he walking like with some pep in his step, like he about to do something. I look over to my left. It's a dude that turns a corner. All of a sudden, they both walking towards me like they about to do something. Not to each other. I was peeping like they were trying to do something to me. That's when that's the first time I heard in my head, drop the stuff and go. This is when I realized I was clairaudient. I heard drop it and go, which is what I did. I dropped the shit and I damn near skipped out that bitch, okay? I went into my apartment. I waited for a little bit, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I looked through the blinds and here I see the two men that were coming down the aisle, and the first woman that I saw who pivoted, I see all three of them talking amongst themselves. That's when it clicked that this shit was staged. This shit was supposed to be some type of setup. Against who? Against me. That's when I started thinking, what the fuck is this dude into? Okay? At first I thought the shit was sexy. But at this point, I'm like, what the fuck is this dude into? Okay. I don't think I ever disclosed to him what happened. I just kept it to myself. Later on down the line, there was an incident where I was looking, this was around the time where I was considering moving outside of my apartment because my landlord said he was looking to sell. And he wasn't sure whether or not what was going to happen with the building. And since I had a pretty good relationship with him, I was just like, you know what? Maybe I should look into moving somewhere else because I don't know if I want to stay here with a new buyer because I don't necessarily know what's going to happen or come from that. So I remember I had rented a vehicle because I was actually looking across state lines, looking at places across state lines. This was around the DMV area, Maryland, DC, Virginia, for those who are not familiar. I'm trying to see what time I'm at. So there was a point where I went to, I think, the DMV for a weekend looking at possible places to move. And I remember coming back. On the day that I come back, there's this white car sitting right outside my apartment. Now, generally, anybody who's lived in my apartment for a very, very long time are used to, everybody know everybody. And usually people, because they know who lives there, rarely does anybody park right in front of the building unless you live there or you're visiting somebody who lives there. Like a respect thing. Like everybody who knows everybody, they know not to park in front of there unless it's during the daytime and they're getting services done at the African lady shop, okay? African hair shop. So I see the white car. I see a man in the driver's seat. I see a woman in the passenger seat. I hear them laughing. I hear loud music playing. I hear the window was down a little bit. I could smell the weed as soon as I hopped out the car. I heard laughing. I heard chuckling. I didn't think anything of it, but something told me just to pay attention. I get into my apartment. I do whatever I need to do before I have to take the car back. I look at my blinds. The car is legit still right there, right in front of my apartment. Something tells me because the businesses were closed that they weren't there for any other businesses. And the reason why they were there is like basically on a stakeout. This is the first time that I realized that I was being stalked. Okay? Let me just go ahead and pause this video right now, and then I'll see you on the other side.